Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Planet Tyro. I'm your host, Donald Wonder, and I'm joined once again with my good old buddy, the Catface Killer, to do some television talk.
What up, fool?
Hey, son. Guys, we're going to talk about a series that was adapted from a movie that was super controversial. I actually spoke about the movie a while ago, but to be honest with you, before I spoke about the series, I actually wanted a second opinion because you guys know I'm a black guy. Even though I'm a British black guy, I actually don't want to feel like I'm giving this series any kind of bias. So I do want someone of a different ethnicity on this discussion to give some kind of opposing opinion, whether we agree or disagree. I think it's important for this discussion in its entirety. So as you can see in the title, we're talking about Dear White People, the Netflix original TV series that again is based off the movie that I think came out 2 years prior. I might be wrong about the distance between the movie and the series, but anyway, I'll put the details down in the description below. So guys, if you didn't see my review, I'll put it in the link in the screen right now if you're on YouTube, and I'll leave a link in the description if you want to hear my thoughts. But again, I actually want Old Boy to tell his perspective, his thoughts on the movie and the TV series. So I want you to do a lot of the talking, but of course I want to give my thoughts on, but I'm actually more interested in your opinion rather than mine, because again, people could call me biased just for being black and supporting a black show, especially in this case. I don't want to say it, but it's kind of a pro-black show in terms of the racial, social issues going on in the series.
I don't know if anybody could accuse you of that. I mean, you have your Blackish review up there in the archive, and it's pretty clear that that sort of thing doesn't hold any real sway on your reviewing. If something's bad, it's bad to you.
Yeah, well, I'm just gotta be impartial, gotta try to be fair. So for the record, tell the people what black dear white people. For the record, I really don't like the title. It's just too in your face. I know what they're trying to be clever with the title, but I don't think the general audience is smart enough to see it's just being satirical. I actually know a lot of people that hear the title and just think fuck the series.
Well, yeah, I mean I think that's the problem with the title, as well as like a large portion of the protagonist in the opening scene as well. It's just like, some people might be like, okay, whatever with that title, and they start watching it, and it is exactly what they thought it was going to be in the opening sequence, both of the movie and the TV show, where it's just like this militantly self-righteous, overly sanctimonious person who, I think they're working for a good cause, but they are at best misguided on it, and I don't even know if their heart's really into it. But the title for sure, I think, really hurts this series as well as the movie. Because it's just like you said, it's like when we were talking about Molester, man, and
good
Masturbation
point.
Master. Yeah, it's just like sometimes it's okay not to try to be too witty and just go with something a little bit safer. I mean, I am a little bit of an edgier guy, but this was not a good choice for a title. I'm just talking about the title specifically. I mean, we've even gotten into the show. Where do I begin with my feelings?
Well, tell me, let's start chronologically. You watched the movie first. Tell me what you thought of the movie itself before the series.
Dude, straight up, like, I was not feeling it. It's like I said, I believe a lot in some of the issues that the characters were really pushing for in the show. That are based off of real life things that are actually happening or have happened recently in the last few years. But I think the way they go about it, the attitude, especially of the protagonist, it was uncomfortable for me to watch. And it was not uncomfortable for me to watch, say, the 13th documentary on Netflix that we talked about in the past. It's not the subject, it's the way that it's being gone about it. Talk about the movie specifically, I feel a lot less positive about the movie than I do about the TV series. I think partially because the time constraints of a movie versus a TV series kind of hurt it, because they had to make the characters, I think, overly simplistic, or some of them are just like one-off notes, for example, and then it was really just kind of more like a three-man kind of show with the movie, where you had the guy that used to date Sam, the protagonist, Sam, the Dear White People radio show host.
Yeah.
And then it kind of bounces back and forth, but I'd say Reggie, who is the male counterpart to Sam in a lot of the pushing for the black issues on campus, like protests and rallies and whatnot. And later on, he does some other stuff that we will get into. But like, I would say he's probably like the third most important character in the movie. And it's just like, I didn't like none of these characters. In fact, I kind of dislike them, I would say.
Yeah.
They're everything that I find uninteresting about young college kids, which is they're way in over the head, even if their heart's in the right place. They're just like, basically they were hipsters. You know what? They were fucking hipsters, and I don't want to watch hipsters. I'm sorry, I don't. I mean, that's what it boiled down to. But like I said, I did like that they tackled issues, especially current issues, and they were trying to show, like, this is from our perspective. I mean, like, the majority of media coverage, everything is either negative when it's talking about our side, or it's just brushed over. It's like a sound clip, a sound bite. So I did like that. I think the acting was fine. I didn't find any problems with the acting at all. It's just like I said, I did not like the characters. That was the big problem with the movie. With the television series, which I would say is probably like a couple steps up higher, I think because you had, what was it, like 10 episodes, right? So you had 10 episodes that take off immediately where the movie ended. So it was like one continuous storyline, and they expanded both the storyline and the characters. And I think being able to flesh out the characters a little bit more, and even though they're all, seriously, they're fucking hipsters, but because they have more personality and everything, and you understand a little bit more about what's going on with them and where they're coming from, like, that helped a lot. I mean, it's kind of sad because, like I said, I really like the idea of what this show is doing, and I applaud their bravery for doing it too and being willing to go for it. I fucking hate these characters, man. I really do.
Yeah, and I can't really blame you. Here's the thing: as a, I have to bring my blackness into it. As a black man, I have like 3 ways for me to see this show. Now, the first way is as a black person who's seen other black shows. So one of the reasons why I'm really impressed with the show is its intelligence. A lot of other black television shows I've seen, like fucking Empire, like Blackish, they're kind of comedy, they're very slapstick, like what the Wayans brothers do. That is a lot of black entertainment, and I'm sick of it. So when I see an intelligent director, an intelligent cast tackling something in an intelligent way, I'm very excited and I'm happy about that. Now, as you said, the characters are annoying, and the framework of the story is annoying because, again, they're trying to be very satirical. Ultimately, they're trying to be satirical, playing off the whole militant black people, but underneath, they seem to have a positive message and trying to bring awareness to the issues that are happening in real life, which I appreciate, but I do not like the mask of using the militant Black Panther kind of essence to make the show comedic. And I know it's kind of a juggling act. They're trying to be over the top of comedic and hipsterish with that Black Panther, Black militant element, but at the same time, what they're saying is real, and the things they're complaining about is real, and they're very, I don't want to say anti-white, but the whole satirical and aggressive nature is against that. Oh, white people see us like this, and don't touch my hair. All those stereotypes, and yeah, it's kind of true, but you're so militant with it. Just like you said, I find it hard to watch, and because the characters on the whole kind of skew on that level of looking down on white people, and the white people they show, most of them are ignorant and stereotypical. It's kind of like, you got a good message, but you're coming off as fucking assholes, and the people you're going up against, you're sending the message in a really wrong way, and it is satirical. And I understand there's shows like the Boondocks. Like, I always say this, there was a character in the Boondocks, a cartoon show, the black character Huey. He was basically like one of these characters. But then you had his other brother, Huey, and I can't remember his brother's name, but I think it was Stewie or Huey, I can't remember. But his brother was like the antithesis to him. He was the embarrassing, pop culture, niggerish black person, while he was the Black Panther. So they had the two dichotomy, and it made it very interesting. But here, you don't have that. You just got the social justice warrior, Black Panther, black, going against the very stereotypical aggressive white, and it is to prove a message, and I do appreciate that. And the subtext of what they're saying is really good. And as a black show, I like the fact it's intelligent, but the outer layer is so hard, and I'm just like, oh guys, if you just execute this in a different way, this series could do so much more. And it just reminded me of Spike Lee's last movie, Chirac. Again, it's like you have a great message, but you execution. It was a satirical musical where the women they hold off on having sex to stop the gangsters from killing each other because of all the killings in Chicago, killing children, and the guns, the deaths, the death toll so high. Another example of great message, great idea, terrible execution. So it might sound like I'm shitting on the show, but I'm just so frustrated with the potential the show has and the outer layer and execution that's going to make this really hard and impossible for people to watch a show. And, it's one thing for me to say that, but the reason why the show has such controversy is because when Netflix showed the advertisement, people were raiding on Twitter. People were saying, this is fucking racist. And obviously, when they cut the trailer for this series and the movie, all they showed was the bits where the black people were criticizing the white people for their ignorance, and it just came off as toffee-nosed, arrogant.
Came off as sanctimonious, dude. That's a big problem I have with the show.
Yeah.
The best way to put it too is it's like not even sincere with some of the characters. Like literally, they say like in the movie, Sam, you're just an anarchist. So in other words, she's just like a shit stirrer, and like you can't get into your groove unless you just fucking start stuff and you have no plan to do it. It's like, so her heart's not really in it. She's not a social justice worker, or at least not in the movie. She just wants to create chaos, and in the movie, that's pretty clear that she doesn't really have any stake in this shit. Like she acts like she does, but by the end of it, it's revealed, does she? No, not really. She's just she has no fucking dimension to her character. And this follows her so much.
And this is the thing I love about the show, because at the end of the day, the show shows you that these characters are fucking hypocrites, that they all have their own self-interest and they're not black and white, without the pun. And I'm just like, yes, the show gives you the outer layer of them thinking they're so high and mighty and they know all, but they're just flawed people, and they all have their individual self-interest, and they're all dealing with their inner turmoil, and the show is so honest about it. That's the thing that is, honestly, that's what I really want to promote about the show. The show on the outside, it looks like one thing, but when you see behind the veneer, you can actually see the show's being very honest, that these characters are fucking flawed, and a lot of them are opportunists. I mean, I could go into details about it, but overall, that's the problem with the show. I really do love the show for its intelligence, and I think it's bringing awareness, and when it brings up its points in the television series particularly, it does it so well. And again, I haven't seen a black show this intelligent in a long time. And it's just a shame that it has such a hard, uncomfortable veneer that is going to alienate a race of people. And that's the people they're kind of targeting. And that's what's kind of perplexing. They make the show because they want to educate these white people and what they're doing wrong.
Well, it's like there's like a difference between educating somebody and mocking them, which is what the characters do in the show all the time. They fucking mocking them. And it's like, when has anybody ever changed their mind about something they were dug in on? When you shame or humiliate or mock them, never. And that's what they want to do, and that's why that bothers me.
Yeah.
As a viewer, I mean, obviously, I can make that disconnect. I'm not the guy they're talking to. The characters talking to when they're doing that shit. I can see everything instead, but it still makes it hard to follow. Actually, talking about all this, I want to retract something. I did find one of the characters and one of their storylines and their progression through both the movie and the TV series. I actually found that I was watching the show for them, and that was the gay guy Lionel, who was in the newspaper stuff and everything. He's actually like the only one that was kind of like, I don't like passive aggressive characters, which he's very passive, especially in the beginning of the movie and everything, but he is the only one that is just not getting on my fucking nerves like every time I see him on the screen.
Yeah. I understand, and here's the thing, guys. For all my criticism, what I'm trying to say, I actually think the show is worth watching if you give it a chance. But I wouldn't criticize anyone for thinking this show was done in the wrong way, because ultimately, I fucking hate the name Dear White People. I really do. It's just too on the nose. It's just too aggressive. It really is. And like I said in the very beginning, they expect people to understand it's being satirical, and you're meant to get it. White people, you get it. You're going to learn something. It's like, guys, please don't do it like this. But you know what? I want to kind of stay away from that and say, if you give the show a chance, you will actually see the show is being very honest about its characters, and it shows you that people on this kind of crusade are flawed. And it kind of reminds me of politics, where you see, people running for president that say they have an agenda, but, there could be a scandal that comes out about them. And when the truth comes out, you find out they're all not what it's all cracked up to be. And that's ultimately what I like about the show. Most of the black characters in the show, they're not all what they're cracked up to be. This whole crusade they're all going on, so much of the underneath layers of it, it's just wrong. It's built on a really bad foundation, and the show goes behind to show you that. They have good intentions ultimately, but the message is all wrong. I like the fact they have the white character in here, the token white character on purpose. He's token on purpose. Who, they have a lot of white characters in the show, but the token white character is Sam's boyfriend.
Yeah, her boyfriend.
And he's a nice guy, and he says things which one of my white friends watches and is like, I like the fact that they give him a chance. They give him his kind of own episode where even he wires out and it's like, why are people like this? Like, I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm trying to understand your point of view, but you're coming off so militant that I don't want to have anything. Fuck it. Fine. I'm the bad guy. I'm out. And I was just like, wow, I know a lot of white guys that are gonna watch the show and they're gonna feel that way. Like, I want to understand, but you motherfuckers are so hostile and you're so...
Should probably have them start with that episode, dude. I mean, that'd be my recommendation.
Yeah. I know it sounds like I'm really shitting on the show, but I will say that you guys give the show a chance, because I really think not only is it tackling the black issues that are happening, which is good, but it's also showing you the flaws of people on this social justice warrior crusade. And I don't think it just applies to black people. There's a lot of people in the feminist community, in the gay community that use their banner of doing good for bad. And this is, if you're on the YouTube community, I can throw names out there, which I'm not going to, but there's a lot of people that are guilty of this exact kind of thing. And I think it's really good that this show paints these characters in a very grey light. Even though they're on that crusade, which again is commendable, ultimately a lot of them are doing it for the wrong reasons. And that's what I think the show is really good, because it's very fair. It's very, very, very fair. But are people going to give this show a chance to see that? Overall, the show is shot well, the writing's great, the dialogue's great, the acting is very good. I mean, they're very intelligent people, and the directors are very... Justin Simeon, the director, is very good. Netflix saw the show, and they backed it. They watched the whole series, they saw the director, and I like the fact they were open-minded enough to, after the movie, give him a TV series, which that old boy says, it supersedes the show. It really does improve on anything they were doing. They give the character a chance to breathe. And I don't know if I said this in the movie, but like you said, the problem with the movie is it's told from the perspective of the most hypocritical character, Sam, who's, and by the way, one of the biggest controversies with the series as well is that Dear White People, the main girl who has the show is mixed race. So people are like, you're not even getting a black character to tell this black narrative. She's mixed race. And I like the fact the show even criticizes the characters in the show that you're not even black. And you're on this black crusade. Who the fuck do you think you are? And the self-criticism of the show for its whole being is what makes us really good. I'm like, I love the fact the show is self-aware consistently, that its whole execution is kind of wrong. And nobody really likes the main character, Sam. Everyone kind of shits on her because, like you said, oh boy, her foundation, and she's kind of an opportunist ultimately. And I wouldn't even say opportunist. She's kind of latched onto something that who knows if she'll even latch onto for the long term, because there's another black character, another black female character who is completely black skinned, and her perspective on black culture and her growing up, I know people like that, and I thought she was a very interesting character because she's trying to play the field.
She's a power gamer. She's going to become a politician. You can see it already. Like, she is the opposite of Sam, and I think it's nice that they threw a character in there like that, and that they actually told both of their stories, both one from her mixed race background and one from her background, growing up, not necessarily affluent, but, she had to keep dealing with white kids growing up like a lot and getting excluded all the time because of it. It was a good ad. I don't know, dude. Like, I feel you and everything, and I want to say with the overall storyline and the development of the characters, by the last couple of episodes, I was like, okay, I'm willing to give this the second season a watch through too, because the story's getting more interesting. The characters are actually becoming more interesting, but it's a really nasty. It's like chewing through an onion to get to something you really like to eat at the core. It really is.
I kind of want to ask you an unfair question because you're not white, you're not Caucasian, old boy. You
I'm
know,
not. No, I'm a tertiary minority. That's what we're called, and we're forgotten. It's always, are you black or are you brown or are you white? All the other races don't matter up until they need our vote.
and that, I'm gonna veer. I'm not even gonna. I was gonna go into a different one, but I just want to say this. I'm kind of confused who this is targeting because when I look on the reviews on IMDb and YouTube, a lot of the black community don't enjoy the show too much because they do think it's too preachy, they think it's too militant, and they actually really do not like the fact the main character is mixed race. I honestly think that's a bit of I actually think that was done purposefully. I think it's obvious that's a purposefully done choice. I think it's very ironic actually they did that, but the black community aren't a fans of that, but I'll put that to the side. Then you've got the white community that look at the show and just think, fuck this. They see the title, they see the trailer, they think, fuck this. So I'm kind of like, Justin Simien, the director, is targeting people, the white audience. I want to give the show a chance. That are willing to just, let me see what this, it's not just more than a name. And I honestly think that's a very big missed opportunity because I think the show needed a much broader, wide appeal. And they really needed to tone this shit down because if more people watched it and it wasn't so militant. I mean, I think the marketing was bad. The name is bad. I think if the name was different, it would help the show a lot. It would still be irritating. I'm not saying it wouldn't have all these issues, but the name is such an entry-level barrier. And like you said, you do get what the name, it says Dear White People, and you get that in the show. But I know a lot of people are just not going to watch the show because of it. And this show is doing a lot of good. But it's going to be frustrating for a whole race of people. And it's really sad because honestly, ultimately, this is a very intelligent show. It's hitting very intelligent topics. And even if you're a white person, they have the white perspective in here. They have a lot of white assholes, I'm not going to lie, which are kind of cartoons, but they do have a few white characters that are, well, maybe just the one. So maybe he's the only real one that seems to be balanced and fair. Right? And I know
he's like a kind of a buffoon, a cartoon character. I'm sorry. It's like some of the things that happen in the show, like he's upset at Sam, and then she says something on the radio where she just acknowledges the fact that they're going steady. It's like, make up sex right now. It's like, really? I mean, that's how deep your feelings were, how upset you were with her? I mean, that's not something that really fixes all the other shit that happened to you because she wants to keep that a secret because it makes her a hypocrite to her friend. I would call them friends, to her friends and everything. Like, that's extraordinarily superficial. That's buffoonish to me.
I think the best thing I can say about the show right now, especially if you're a Caucasian person thinking, why the fuck should I watch this show? The few things the show does that might make you think I'm going to watch the show. Someone asked Sam, point blank, they have many conversations of how the fuck would you feel if I made Dear Black People? They have many conversations on, do you have any idea how, if we turn the cars around? I like the fact the show multiple times addresses what if white people say the N-word. They ask the questions that are always on the internet, always in social rants online. If you want to see that, if you want to hear people discuss that, on an even playing field, both sides, you're going to get that. I think you're going to get fair discussions on both sides. Although it's a pro-black agenda, I won't deny it, I think you're going to get that conversation, which again, I think more people need to see. And in regards, which I can't deny, in regards to the things that happen in America now with the black students and stuff, it only becomes sadly more relevant. And, that's why I do think the show needs to exist. But the barrier... This needs to be toned down. It needs to be on a broader scale. But honestly, my Caucasian buddies, friends, I love you guys. I would say give the show a chance because ultimately it has very interesting conversation. But I'm right there with you in saying this show is fucking abrasive. It is sanctimonious. It's trying to be satirical and it knows what it's doing. But I just think it knows what it's doing and it still expects you to watch it. And I think that is the downfall of the show and what keeps people watching. But I'm only criticizing the show so much because I think it's really good and I just think not as many people are going to watch it. Again, guys, you're taking this from the perspective of a black guy, so again, you might think I'm biased. I really try to be as fair as I can because I'm just frustrated that not many people are watching the show. But I will say, looking on the reviews on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that, it's gotten pretty good scores. But a lot of people are just blanketly saying this is a racist show, this is a pro-black show, anti-white show, I'm not going to fucking watch it. And it's sad because that's not the message the writer and the director's going for, but sadly the outside veneer does perpetuate that stereotype and that kind of energy, and it's just really fucking sad.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, like, I'm with you right there. Like, I like that they're taking on so many issues that are so important that need to be talked about, you know, and like, you can't have these kind of conversations with your friends or sometimes because you guys are going to be biased or whatever, you know, and to see other characters actually have these conversations, like you were saying, what if you flipped around to Dear Black People, shit like that. It's good to have the show for that. But the problem is, like, you know, people, one of the complaints is people are going to look at this and they're going to think it's racist and everything. It's not. But the problem is the characters are fucking racist. Like, you can't be like, somebody comes up to, it's like literally this happens in the show. Somebody comes up and talks to Sam. They're like, you're being fucking racist with the way you guys are doing this. I can't be racist because I'm not, what do you call it?
I'm not white. I'm not, yeah.
Shit, it's because I'm not, it's like, because I'm not subjugating you like the slaves were, basically. It's like, dude, there are many different definitions of racism, and there's many different actions that could be racist, and you saying that is so extraordinarily ignorant that it like completely disconnects me from you.
This is the thing, the writer knows that's wrong, and I know they're trying to play it for a joke, and maybe some guys might think, no, they're not.
That did not come off as a joke to me. That just came out to show you that the character's a hypocrite.
Yeah.
If it is a joke, I don't know how many laughs it got.
Not a joke, you were right. They're trying to make you show that the characters are sanctimonious and they're stuck in their ways, and they won't even address, they don't even ask, like, why do you think that? They don't have that conversation, and, you know, I'm only going to talk about one scene. One of the most, I don't know what to say, disturbing or interesting scenes is when they have the N-word episode where we're at a party, the N-word's thrown out.
This will be interesting because, like, after you explained, like, where do you fall on that, you know, on that scale?
You know what? Oh, but you can ask me because everyone's opinionated and I don't care what anyone says. Music, I think I was kind of I shouldn't say I was with the white person, but when it comes to music, I'm sorry, you put it in the fucking song. So as far as I'm concerned, it's not fair to hold that power over people. But at the same, here's the thing: I'm actually on both sides of the coin. I think it's kind of situational. The thing with the N-word for me is situational. I have friends that are not black who use the N-word. I don't give a shit. Generally, let me just be even more broad. Generally, I don't give a shit about the N-word.
Is that wait? Is that with the AH or is that with ER too?
That's a whole other thing.
To me, you're talking about with AH.
They both sound the fucking same. Let's put it this way: they both nigger and nigger. To me, they're the same fucking word. Let's just be real. I know that when you're in rap, they're saying the AH one, and then the white people's NR, but to me, it's one fucking word. Let's be real. Let's stop this whole splitting hair shit. Nigger is one word. People have a problem about it. Nigger is a legacy word. I understand it has a legacy of hatred, pain, and death, and all the slavery. Yes, that's true. And black people hold it. And here's the thing, that's all true, but at the same time, you put it in songs and you want people to celebrate. You want people to, you know, you got Kendrick Lamar, one of the most radical worshipped rappers all now. He throws the N-word left, right, and center. And every single rapper uses the N-word, and they got white fans, and they don't give a shit. So I'm at the end of the day, when they were at that episode where we're having a party, and the white guy said, at the end of the day, it's a fucking song. You put it in there. You can't expect white people to say it. It's just not fair. But in other contexts, it's just not black and white. And I can't sit here and say I'm all yes and all no. For me, it's situational. It really is. But if you're at a party and everyone's singing, completely on the ball. You can say whatever the fuck. If it's part of the song, for me, it's game. Fair game. It's part of the song, okay. Fair game. It's pop culture. Okay.
Yeah. So just to wrap up what actually happened this scene, like they're at a party, everything's actually going great, and then like the white guy, like you're saying, he's dancing or whatever, feeling good, and he's actually just repeating the lyrics of the song, and that's when he says, you know, nigga, and the black character Reggie's like, hey, don't say that word, dude. And for me, like cutting it right there, for me, the way I feel about these, it all comes down to context. Like, where I live in California, in case you guys don't remember that. So every fucking person, regardless of the race, says this goddamn word. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, even I'll say it when I'm fucking around sometimes, even though it's not part of what I normally say. You know, I don't use that word. I'll usually be like, hey man, hey bud, how you doing? Blah blah blah. Instead of hey my nigga, you know, instead of like that, I don't say that. You know, unless I'm fucking around. Usually when I'm imitating one of my other friends. So to me, like if somebody's like, hey, don't do that, you know, and I was like, I probably wouldn't have had the argument. I'd just be like, "Oh, is that bothering you?" And be like, "Yeah, it doesn't matter what the reason was. It's like, is that bothering him?" I probably would have stopped. But the whole thing is like, instead of being like, "Hey, it's just bothering me, but please don't use it." He started this debate, and it boiled into this huge thing. They started shoving each other, blah blah blah. But like, how I feel about the word is like, dude, I grew up in like a hick town. Okay, like it was 18,000 people up until like I don't know, I was getting out of high school, and it was they were building a lot of houses, and it was going from rural to like an actual city. And I grew up with like a lot of white people. I don't fucking care. I mean, most of them didn't really give me shit over my race. Once I got out of elementary school, once I started going to like middle school and stuff, nobody fucking cared that I was Asian. So to me, like, you can say things, and it's clear like whether or not you're being malicious with it. At the end of the day, though, like I said, if somebody's like, "Hey, what? Don't say that word. That bothers me." Who the fuck cares? They ask you nicely, don't say that word. It's bothering them. It's just one word. Give it to them. But if like it's in a song or whatever, somebody's repeating the song. It's in the goddamn song. Okay, you need to go get that song censored, basically, if that's your problem. Because people, it doesn't matter what race they gotta be repeating the song.
Yeah.
And it's not okay for some people of one race to say it, and nobody else gets to say it. However, you could be like, "Hey, it's bothering me. Just don't use that word." And to me, like from that point on, the other guy starts like fighting you over it. They're being an asshole.
Yeah, I completely agree. And here's the thing: I've been in that situation, and everyone does exactly what you said. They just squash it because it never explodes into that kind of scenario. But again, for the show, they're having a conversation for the audience, in my opinion. Even though it even explodes into a ridiculous situation, which just tries to relate to the real life situation of being cornered by a policeman, which is fine. Which I'm not even going to touch that right now.
It's an important subject, though. Actually, that it came to that, I thought was good for the story.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the whole point. It was for the conversation, and we just had that conversation, which is the reason why. Again, I think the show serves a really good purpose. And I'm not going to veer too much. We're going to wrap this up. I have a nephew who was born in 2007. And he didn't even grow up in the times of racism when I was young. And to be honest with you, as the decades go on, I feel like culturally racism is morphing into something else. And as we get further and further away from the times of slavery, things like the word nigger becomes more of a conversational situation. And you hear white people debate, why can't I say it more? Because they're further and further away from that time. And I understand that. And again, I think that's the reason why I'm glad the show has a conversation. And just like that situation, the way that it ends, there's never a clear answer. There never will be a clear answer. It's just part of history. And it's just how it is. So again, I think we're not all going to agree on everything. It's all about the conversation. I appreciate the show for doing that. But the entry barrier to the show is so fucking high and so hard for a lot of people that it's just a big ass shame, because I think this is a really good quality show. And to end it, I will say this, like I said in the very beginning, in terms of quality in other black shows, what the show was doing is so respectable, so commendable, and so brave. I do even think it's all those things, and it's so far apart from what other black shows are doing on television. It's just sad that it did things in the wrong way, which really could have made this show something really special, but instead, it makes this show super decisive. Super decisive.
I'm gonna be straight up honest. Like, I don't think it's a lost cause. I think pretty much with the way the storyline wrapped up at the end of season 1, like the continuation of the season 2 and the way it might change characters and everything could make this, up on the level we want it to be, and have the changes we want it to be. And like literally, you could just be like, hey, you know what? Fuck season 1. Just start with season 2, and if you like that, it appeals to you, everything. You feel like you're learning stuff, everything. Go back and watch season 1. Go back and watch the movie, but start with season 2. It's not too late for them to fix things, I think.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, but you know what it all comes down to, oh boy, Catface, sorry.
I actually don't know.
It all comes down to one sentence. Hey, are you watching Dear White People?
Well, I think, honestly, I don't find the name to be that bad, other than you're bombarded by Sam constantly doing Dear White People, Dear White People, Dear White People, being like sanctimonious with that shit, being like holding her nose up and looking down people. It's just like, if it wasn't for that, and that was just the name, and then like she did something else besides radio hosting, she didn't do that Dear White People thing, I don't think that would be a problem. Honestly, I don't. But maybe. Because she does, and because that's a core part of her character and everything, it is exactly the problem you've been saying it is.
Yeah. But then again, honestly, as a black person, I just feel like an arsehole saying, "Are you watching Dear White People?" Can I say it to white? I just feel weird saying that to a white person. Are you watching Dear White People? It really sounds like an accusation. So I feel weird saying it. You know, I got to kind of follow up saying, "Are you watching Dear White People?" It's a really good show. It's not offensive, you know. It's not what you think. That's what I feel like I got to say every time I promote on this show.
Like you're apologizing to them.
Yeah, like I have to apologize and soften the blow instantly. And it's a shame because, again, I've rambled so much about the show. I really do. But I'm just frustrated that such a good show is so decisive and it's just so contentious. But it has a really good, underneath everything, it really has a good message and it's really doing something really good. I have to kind of end on a positive. And honestly, if you want me to give the show a rating, I'll give it a solid B. I think it's way better than the movie. The series does try to like cover the end of the movie really quickly, so you can watch the series on its own, but you kind of have to watch the movie. I told Aubrey has to watch the movie first. Do you agree? Because I need your opinion. Can you tell someone just watch the series?
I could. I mean, like, I think because they refer and actually even do flashbacks to the movie a lot.
Yeah.
Enough that you don't need to watch the movie. I think you get more out of it, more of a painful experience, but more out of it if you do watch the movie.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I don't feel like there's enough in the movie that wasn't like in the series and isn't covered by the series that you have to watch the movie.
Yeah, you're kind of right. And by the way, the actor, because there's an actor chain, they're not the same actors from the movie. I think they're fine. I think they do it just as good, if not better, than the movie. I think the character actors chain doesn't make any difference to the story.
Nah, not at all. I didn't see any kind of drop off or pick up between the two.
I want to really commend the director, Justin Simien. I know he's a very young guy. I think he's under 25, and he really wrote a really great, intelligent series. Very ballsy, very ballsy, very contentious. He's getting a hell of a lot of hate. But I have to say, man, I have to give Netflix props for even funding the show and taking it on their slate. It just really shows the diversity Netflix has, which makes me even more proud of Netflix. It really does. Because, again, they got a lot of shit for this series. But they got a lot of money, they got a lot of power, so, you know, but they really did promote the series very well, and they stand by the series. As for a season 2, I hear it's a maybe, but Netflix said they're happy to do it, but I think it's more got to do with Justin Simien. He said he felt like he had more stories to tell. It does end on a cliffhanger-ish. You can see more of these characters. I wouldn't mind. But just like you, but I kind of hated the characters. I didn't feel sorry for any of them. But I like where it's going. It's just exploring a lot of issues. And that's what makes it more interesting than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I do hope there's a second season. I mean, I think there's always going to be racial issues that are just not being covered by the media fairly. I mean, I hate the media. I hate the mass media. I don't believe like Trump, you know, but it hasn't been good since way before Trump. I'm not gonna go as far as say it's fake news. I mean, I'm sure there's fake news out there, but yeah, it's extraordinarily biased and agenda driven.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one of the most demonized subcultures and demographics, a firearm owner, and they lambast the shit out of firearms to the point where it's like, you do understand, like, these prevent rapes, you prevent murders, you prevent robberies, these give people security, yet you act like all that happens is people buy them like toys and go around shooting everybody nonstop. Like, there are so many people in America and so many owners of firearms, not even just firearms in America, just firearm owners. And like, the reason why there's still a country here isn't because we're running around shooting everybody nonstop, but they act like we're always on the edge. We're about to snap. We can't take one more thing. We're gonna blow up. We're gonna fucking shoot you in the face. So it's like, dude, no, you know. And the fact that you have this outlet, I think they should continue to pursue it. I mean, maybe not even use new topics, you know, and everything. Just explore them more. It's just, I think it would be a shame to end it there. There's so much potential.
Sure.
Even if they don't expand upon like some of their goals and stuff, production wise, you know, talking about these different viewpoints and stories and everything, not stories, topics. I don't want to see it go away. Not like this, you know. Yeah. I want to see a strong second season.
Hey man, I was shocked when I heard it was in a series of the show. I was like, what? A series of this? No one would pick up the show. So when Netflix did, I was really shocked, and I was more shocked with how good the series actually was. be all the abrasive outer shell. But guys, we rambled on long enough about the show. I know if you're one of the few that saw the show, watched the whole show, gave it a chance, let us know your thoughts down below, whether you completely agree, completely disagree. Again, I want this to be a really fair discussion about the show. And again, if you didn't give it a chance, I think it's worth a watch, whatever color you are, because again, they have really good conversation from both sides, even though it seems like a pro-black agenda. Everyone that kind of has their say, even though it is mostly the pro-black agenda. But everyone has their say, which is really good about the show. But anyway, boys, sorry for having you on this 40-minute discussion, but I'm really glad we got it out there. I feel like I had a therapy session of this one.
It's all good, dude. I mean, there's nothing wrong with our recordings being cathartic. It's just like, I didn't even rate it. Like, for me, it's mostly because I see more potential than what's there. I would say, on a personal level, it's like a low solid B, because it's above average. The courage it has to talk about these different topics and not be, like, just super biased about it. You know, you get other perspectives, the other side when they're talking about these things, or you can at least see it. I mean, I think that takes guts. But I just, God, I hate these fucking characters. I really do. Yeah. I think for most people, it's probably gonna fall more like on acquired taste. It's hard. It is hard to sell. I mean, mostly because the characters are not likable.
Did you find the series hard to watch though? Did you find it like a hard watch?
Believe it or not, I actually did not. Like, I thought it would be. The first episode was maybe I was like, oh, there's gotta be more of this. And then like from the second episode on, I didn't really think about it. I just watched it. I mean, like I told you, I was gonna binge it, and I split it up between 2 days. And it's like the second day, I found out I was like, oh, I'm already on episode 9. I even realized that. Yeah. So it's like it seemed like it at first. I thought that was gonna be it. It was a big worry of mine, but I mean, once you get past, basically, like you compare it to the movie, holy shit, I hate those fucking characters. But like you get to the TV series, hate and dislike are really different. These are very different words.
Yeah. No, you nailed it there. You nailed it. So yeah, I'm glad I should have asked you about the pay. Like the 30 minutes is short. I really think they really nailed it on making each episode short, which is really good. So again, the pacing's really good. Number of episodes really good. At least they got that right. You know, this is small doses, very quick. Each episode's about an individual character till the end where it all comes together. Execution, pacing. This was a very planned effort, and it's just, you know, I think that's now we've covered everything. I'm glad I nearly forgot that last part. But yeah, oh boy, again, thank you for coming on and just giving us a fair alter perspective. Even though I think we're kind of on the same point. I don't know if you thought I was in love with the show, but I was very frustrated with the execution.
I honestly, I had no idea, but I was worried. It's like, oh god, if he loves this show, we're gonna feel like fucking fighting each other.
Nah, I think that's how I truly feel. I'm not just saying that. That's really how I truly feel. So again, guys, share your thoughts on the series down below if you've seen it. We do a lot of TV talk. We're doing a lot more TV talk. I'm watching a hell of a lot of TV series because we need to balance the scales and bring some more television. So you're going to see a lot more television. We've got a playlist on the YouTube card. If you want to go see the other television shows we've talked about, we've spoken about some real classics. And again, give us a thumbs up on the channel. Subscribe to the channel. If you're on the podcast, you're listening, thank you. Don't forget to check out the links in the description to get everything we've done before. Leave a comment, as I said 100 times. And we'll see you on the next discussion.
Peace out.